What is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. We're going to be talking about the YSL house and my opinions of the best fragrances that you can pick up from the brand. You know, they have a pretty good plethora of, different options that you can go with. There's date night fragrances, there's clean and fresh fragrances, there's night clubbing type of fragrances that they offer. And the majority of them are really likable. All of them are pretty likable. So, except for Chorus, I think we universally can agree that that one's very masculine, very challenging to rock. But let's start it off. Let's talk about the Y line first, and let's start with the Eau de Toilette. This is a very great fresh fragrance that you can rock. It's an easy, soapy, clean, kind of sporty fragrance that you can wear to school, work, and it has a very nice sophistication, clean, boring man approach to it, which is not a bad thing, but it just smells pretty basic, soapy, clean, fresh, and a little sweet in there, but it's mostly very fresh and light. You can actually pick it up for a very promising price, $60 to $80 in that area, in that ballpark. If you're looking for good price value proposition, that is an excellent option. It just doesn't really perform all that well from testing it around. So if you're interested at all at that one, I would say it's definitely recommended for me. You're just gonna find that it's a kind of a Acqua di Gio kind of freshness. It's just like a standard, light and airy fragrance. Not to say that it smells like Acqua di Gio at all, but it's in that kind of same ballpark. You're just gonna find it smells pretty fresh. And then the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Parfum is one of my favorites. I would highly recommend that one. It's got that appley accord, ginger. It's got a bunch of aldehydes in there too. It's sage. It's super pleasant. I just love that stuff. I've worn a half a bottle of it. That is one of the ones that I would definitely recommend by far in the whole Y line is the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Parfum Intense, that one is a little bit more amber heavy dominant, amber wood kind of smell. There's a specific amber nuance in called Karma Wood or Norlimbinol, and that is a very highly powerful amber wood smell. But it has the kind of apple removed. It doesn't have that fruity sweetness that you would come to find with the Eau de Parfum. But it's a very nice, likable DNA. It's very fresh. I wore it the other day, and I really liked it. It kind of gets swept under the rug because a lot of the influencers and a lot of the people, from what I know, don't really enjoy it, don't really like it. So, take it with a grain of salt. Everyone has their own subjective opinion, but I think it's pretty nice. Just know that you're going to get a little bit more of a richened up, less fruity approach with the Y Eau de Parfum DNA. Let's talk about the Le Parfum. I think the Le Parfum has this nice balance of everything going on. The aldehydes are really cranked up in here, giving it kind of this, ozonic quality, but it comes across a little waxy, and aldehydes kind of tend to do that. They kind of make everything a little bit more powerful. That's what aldehydes are used for. They're just used for cranking up certain materials. Like if you put I think it's a C11 or C12, it cranks up the C12. The C12 cranks up the amber wood tremendously, and it has a waxy, almost like fresh peeled orange in there. So it has that like waxy rind kind of smell. But regardless, they have a bunch of different aldehydes that crank up like the ozonic qualities and so on and so forth. So, but I really enjoy the Le Parfum. I think it's one of the favorites up there with the Eau de Parfum. I think that this one is definitely well worth it. There's not too much of a difference between this one and the Eau de Parfum. So if you're looking to get one or the other, I would say just get one or the other. If you're gonna get both of them, I would say it would be very redundant to own both of them, but you're gonna have a lot of good smelling fragrance. So yes, it might smell redundant, but you're gonna have a lot of juice to go through. So yeah, I would say a really good option, the Le Parfum. I would just go with the Eau de Parfum though. It's fruity, it's sweet, it's a little bit more fresher. You do get a touch of a little bit more darkness with the Le Parfum, but it's not anything significant. I want to briefly touch on the Eau Fraiche here. The Eau Fraiche is a really nice citrus heavy fragrance. One of my favorites in the summertime. It doesn't perform at all. I get like 3 hours with it. So it's one of those fragrances that you just spray on and just like linger around for a little while and then just get on with your day. If you want this one to last all day, it can. You just have to take it with you and you'll be smelling fresh and clean. I think it's one of the best scent profiles in the whole DNA because it just smells super fresh, like lemony fresh, bergamot heavy. It's very heavy with the top. The top of the formula is super heavy with citrus and just cleanness, some floral nuances in here. I think there's some sage lavender mixture in here too, but yeah, it's a very fresh, likable DNA. It's almost like their version of Dior Homme Intense, or not Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Cologne, excuse me. It's a very likable citrus fragrance. One of my favorites. I take it with me whenever I wear it in the summertime. I throw it in my car, throw it in my gym bag, and throughout the day I spray it back on. So really likable DNA. Let's talk about the Elixir. The Elixir took the internet by storm, and in a bad way. A lot of people hated this one. It was a very controversial fragrance, very, very controversial. So it introduces this oud character in here, and the oud, it comes across as a very soapy, clean kind of oud because they have a soap note in here. So it has this like nice warmness, but it's also quite soapy. And there's this like kind of powerful amberwood in here that just kind of like balances everything out. But it's the most bizarre DNA in the whole bunch. Not to say, and I'm a little mixed on it, but I actually really enjoy it. I wore it the other day. I feel like 3 or 4 days ago, and it was quite nice. It wasn't my traditional like likable DNA, but I found it really, really enjoyable. It was just clean, fresh, and it's almost got this like soapy kind of quality to it, which is an excellent offering for like someone who's going to work or school, someone, that doesn't really want to smell like a, bubblegum sweet, sexy douchebag. It smells pretty fresh and clean. It's the most expensive in the line, and I think it smells the most cheap in the line. So I would say, once again, just go with the eau de parfum. The eau de parfum will get you there. It will get you versatility. This can be worn on a date, anywhere, to school, work, smell fresh and clean. It is pretty popular, so you might smell like somebody's ex, or you might smell like somebody at your school. So if you want this kind of DNA and you want to be a little bit more grown up, go with the Eau de Parfum Intense. But these two are the ones that I would be recommending, Eau de Parfum or the Eau de Parfum Intense. Honestly, the Eau de Parfum Intense should have been the Elixir version. I stand by that. All right, let's talk about the L'Homme line. I don't own a whole bunch of the L'Hommes, but I really want to pick up the Le Parfum L'Homme. That one is fantastic, but the original L'Homme is an excellent ginger kind of fragrance. It's got this fresh ginger nuance in there, clean, musky, fresh. It's sparkling, and it's a perfect man scent. This can be a signature scent, and I know a lot of people who actually wear this as their signature scent. A good friend of mine told him I was doing fragrance videos on the internet, and he watched my videos and stuff, and then he went to Sephora and he bought L'Homme, the original one, the clear bottle, and it's still a great fragrance. It's an awesome fragrance. It doesn't really last a whole long, but once again, if you take it with you, spray it on, put it in a little decant. If you own the bottle, if you have the bottle, you could put it in a little decant and spray it on as you go, and it's convenient. So, and you smell, there's nothing wrong with smelling like really so good throughout the day. That's an excellent option. But one of my favorites is the L'Intense version. I'm pretty sure that this one is discontinued. I think the Eau de Parfum replaced this one. So, and I haven't tried the Eau de Parfum. From what I hear, it's kind of similar to this, and kind of similar to the original one. I actually wear this. This is such a high class scent. This is the L'Homme DNA, that fresh ginger kind of quality, the musky, the sexy musky kind of smell with this one. But this one introduces an amber note or benzoin note into the DNA, and it kind of warms it up a little bit. This is my dating fragrance. I'm just gonna say it. This is so much better than La Nuit de l'Homme. This is like a beautiful dating fragrance. When I was dating back in 2020, or 2021, or around that time, I wore this on a couple of dates, and they loved the way it smelled. It's so potent. It smells super high class and you just smell like $1,000,000. One of the favorites of mine. I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend the L'Intense version, but just know I think that this one is discontinued. So, and if let's talk about the La Nuit de l'Homme line. So La Nuit de l'Homme is a kind of flanker of the L'Homme line, and it's like a yin and yang kind of thing. You have L'Homme, and then you have the La Nuit de l'Homme. And La Nuit de l'Homme, the original one is so sexy. It's cardamom, it's fresh, it's clean. I think so played out. I really, because if you look up the best date night fragrance, every video on the internet, every video on YouTube, on TikTok, whatever, wherever you're looking, it's gonna say La Nuit de l'Homme. So that means that everyone who is looking for a fragrance that's not a fragrance head is going and buying La Nuit de l'Homme. I just think it's overplayed. I really think that the Le Parfum is the best from the line, other than the Blue Electric. Blue Electric is really nice. I like that stuff a lot. It just kind of takes the DNA of La Nuit de l'Homme and cranks it up and makes it a little bit more powdery, more fresh, more clean, and a little bit more powerful. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's nice though. The Blue Electric is really, really nice. I think that the Le Parfum though separates itself from the crowd a little bit, and it really makes it very, very sexy. This is by far one of the best from La Nuit de l'Homme, and it's highly underrated too. It has a peppery nuance in here and fruity nuances, and that combo is just remarkable. Honestly, it kind of smells like the fruity quality mixed with peppery, and that it's just so good. It's really, really good. One that I wear occasionally is the Eau de Parfum La Nuit de l'Homme, and it's good. It's kind of interesting. It's got a leather accord in here, and so this one doesn't, I don't recommend this one to everyone because it's a very unique kind of style of fragrance. It's got a leather accord, it's got a fruity quality in here. It is really far off from the La Nuit de l'Homme kind of vibe, kind of setup, but it is definitely a nighttime fragrance. If you wear this in the evening, a nice summer's evening where it's like cooler outside, maybe in the fall would be a perfect time for this. Even, warmer winter weather, it would be nice. It's an excellent fragrance. It's you just kind of have to like a fruity, leathery kind of approach. This is not like a warm, dark, rich leather like you would find in Tuscan leather or that kind of thing. It is a little bit more played low. The leather is a accent to this fruity like quality, but the leather is still there. I'm probably missing a bunch from the L'Homme line, but I definitely want to pick up the Le Parfum from the L'Homme line. I love that stuff, and then kind of mixes the Y DNA with the L'Homme DNA, and it kind of merges those two together and kind of makes a nice fresh and clean, love child. Really good. I'm gonna be picking up a bottle of that soon. All right, let's talk about the Myself line. So I am a big fan of the Eau de Parfum. It's an orange blossom heavy fragrance, citrus, fresh, clean. It's a clean laundry kind of musk, so you smell like fresh fabric softener. So if you're looking for a non-offensive fragrance, Myself is a great option. This one doesn't have like superb longevity. It has like 6 hours from my skin, and when I want to wear this one, I usually spray it on my clothes because it smells like fresh fabric softener. So if that lingers around on my clothes, that's okay. That's an okay thing. But usually I overspray that one and I get into the 8 hours. So I really loved it. I got the Le Parfum, and I love the Le Parfum. This one has a little bit more realism when it comes to the orange blossom. The citrus heavy nuances in here are kind of cranked up a little bit. It's deeper. It's deeper in here. It's richer. In such a subtle way that it makes it so beautiful. They introduced the note of vanilla into the Le Parfum, which just kind of sweetens it up and gives it a touch of a vanillic kind of undertone to the whole thing. And they also introduced the black pepper and kind of an elamine kind of mix in here to kind of spice that vanilla up in the base. It's really good. So good, in fact, I wish I bought the bigger bottle, but I'm never gonna even go through this smaller bottle, so. Now, I won't touch too much on the private lines, but Tuxedo and Baby Cat are really good. Tuxedo is a nice patchouli heavy fragrance, and I would recommend Roche's Man or Roche's I forget which Rocheus it is, Rocheus. But anyway, there's a bunch of different clones on the market. There's clones of all of these on the market. There's so many clones on the market right now. So you can most likely find, you know, counterfeit and also clones on the market, you know, clones and counterfeit products. So there's a plethora of them out there, but Baby Cat is really good. It's a heavy vanilla fragrance. I think it has a touch of a smoky edge to it, but it's a very good vanilla fragrance. Benzoin, really good. Try it before you buy it because it is an expensive fragrance, I'll tell you. And then Tuxedo, such a classy scent, really, really excellent. But if you're looking for like 3 from the, you know, a bunch of different lines, I would say the Myself, the Eau de Parfum, or the Le Parfum would be great. And then I would say La Nuit de l'Homme's Le Parfum, and also the Y Eau de Parfum. I think these 3 could set you up and just be so sexy. They give you ultra versatility. You got some dating kind of fragrances in there. You got some going out fragrances. I think you're totally covered. These 3 fragrances could be your staple in your collection. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite YSL fragrance and which fragrance would you recommend to a crowd of people? If somebody came up to you, someone random, and asked you, what YSL fragrances should I buy? Let them know in the comments down below. We would all love to hear your thoughts on it. It's all subjective, so we want to know. Thanks so much for watching the video, everyone. We'll see you next time.